Hi everyone, Dreki here, and today I am putting side by side two photographic champions, the arms race to image quality. I am comparing the Quelima SQ11 and SQ12, better known as the $8 camera and the $12 camera. So the introduction was a bit of a joke because at this price point expectations are fairly low, but I did have a lot of fun filming with these cameras for a couple weeks. The two cameras are very similar in form and function, with the same button layout and only slight differences to the body. The SQ11, the narrower field of view, has a rainbow racing stripe, whereas the SQ12, the wide-angle version, is all black. In terms of included accessories, they're the same too, so we'll just quickly run through them. A USB cable and a clip mount. That's it. The internal hardware of these two cameras is the same as well, featuring real 720p video or upscaled 1080p video. It also has interpolated 12 megapixel photos. However, these photos are really only about 0.5 megapixels in real resolution. Even the video seems to have more detail than the photos. The only real differences between the two cameras, apart from that rainbow racing stripe, is in the lens. The SQ11, as I said, is a much narrower field of view, making things appear more close up, whereas the SQ12 is a wider field of view. Here, the two cameras are filming at the same time, and you can see the difference in field of view. To reach such a cheap price point for these two cameras, I believe that they're using a plastic lens, and it shows sometimes, especially when you point towards the sun. The Quelima SQ12 has a very visible lens flare which does distort video quite a bit, but pointed away from the sun, I'm actually surprised at what these two cameras can do. The introduction to this video was a little bit of sarcasm because at this price point they're not going to be fantastic cameras, but to be honest, I'm surprised at how well they do for the money. I'm surprised they even turn on. I feel like the wider angle camera would be useful in more situations than the narrower angle camera just because when you handheld it, it's not as shaky. You can walk with this camera and the people who end up watching your video won't be nauseated from how much it's bouncing. That is, at least compared to the SQ11, where any walking with this camera is super duper bouncy and almost impossible to watch. It's really more a standstill and pan around camera or place it on something and record covertly camera. By nature though, the SQ11 does have more details when the two cameras are placed side by side, just because it's a narrower field of view. I think the lens is a little bit smaller aperture too, so everything appears more in focus, more detailed, and it's easier to recognize features of people that walk into the frame. On the other hand, having the wide angle is nice because it's easier to get things into the frame, whereas with the SQ11, the narrower field of view, it's a little bit more tough to know what you're filming. By and large though, it's just been fun to have such a cheap camera that I can throw around and not worry about. For example, I zip-tied the SQ12 to the bottom of a small drone that wouldn't be able to carry a GoPro just to see what would happen, and while the results weren't fantastic, they were way better than the camera that was built into that cheap drone. So, would I recommend buying either of these two cameras? Well, I'd probably recommend the wide-angle version over the close-up version, even if it doesn't have as much detail. I find having the wider angle is useful in more applications, and it's easier to know what you're getting in the frame. Audio quality is by and large the same, build quality is by and large the same, and both cameras do struggle in some lighting, so either way, you're getting very similar video quality overall. I'd buy them if you just want something fun to play around with, you don't really care about video quality, and you don't care about breaking them because they're so cheap. Thanks for watching. If you have questions, please leave them in the comments below. The funny thing is that Firefly, a more renowned action camera brand, is actually releasing a camera based on this hardware pretty soon for about $25. So I guess I'm going to have to get that one and see which is better, the $12 camera or the $25 camera.